Well, it is great to be with so many friends here tonight. Thank you, Paul, for that very kind introduction. Thank you, AJ and David, for inviting me here today. Thank you, Governor Branstad, Lieutenant Governor Reynolds, for the gracious hospitality. Thank you, my friend Chuck Grassley, for welcoming into your home state with so many dear friends of yours. And thank you to each of you for coming out tonight. I promise you, I'll do everything humanly possible to try to speak for less than 21 hours. But you will know I'm nearing the end when I bring out and begin to read The Cat in the Hat. You know, I got to tell you, 21 hours is a long time. I mean, that's almost as long as it takes to sign up on the Obamacare website. You know, every one of us is grounded, is kept who we are by our families. And I am particularly proud to have the opportunity to introduce to each of you my wife, Heidi Cruz. Heidi is beautiful, she is brilliant, she is an incredible mother to our two baby girls, she is my best friend in the world, and she is the love of my life. I love you, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. And you know, talking about family keeping one grounded, we have a tendency when you're in the midst of heated battle to think that that battle is of great importance. But somehow our kids don't always perceive it to be quite the same. Last Sunday, Heidi and I were up in D.C. with our two girls, Caroline's 5, Catherine's 2. And we were driving to Mount Vernon that afternoon to spend a little bit of time with the girls. And Caroline, the 5-year-old, asked her little sister, she says, "Catherine, what do you want to do when you grow up?" And Catherine says, "I want to work in the U.S. Senate. I want to work with Daddy." And Caroline goes, "That's boring. We're going to be in a rock band." And then she threw in the zinger. She said, "Besides, Daddy will be dead by then." That's a true story. I'm sitting there driving the car while she said that. I have to admit, I wondered if Caroline had been talking with Republican leadership. If she knew something maybe I didn't. You know, I am here tonight more than anything else with a word of encouragement, with a word of hope, and with a word of optimism. What I want to talk to you about tonight is that we are facing extraordinary times. The answer to what we're facing is growth. Only the people can turn us around. And the fight is working. Let's start with the extraordinary times. This is not a typical moment in the political process. We are facing extraordinary threats to our nation. We are seeing an administration that seems bent on violating every constitutional protection we have in the Bill of Rights. Chuck, I don't know that they have yet violated the Third Amendment, but soon they may start quartering soldiers in people's houses. If you look at the First Amendment, at the complete disregard this administration has treated religious liberty, whether it is telling servicemen and servicewomen that they cannot share their faith with others or risk discipline, the idea that the men and women who risk everything to defend our liberty check their constitutional rights at the door is anathema to who we are. We saw just a few months ago an Air Force chaplain in Alaska reprimanded because he posted on his blog the simple statement, "There are no atheists in Foxhole." He was ordered to take it down. Apparently, chaplains are not supposed to be talking about that God stuff. Now, this particular chaplain, that phrase, he was quoting President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who I would note had some passing familiarity with the military. We've seen the assault on our Second Amendment. No administration in history has tried to come after the Second Amendment like this administration. Now, Vice President Joe Biden, you know the nice thing? You don't need a punchline. You just say his name, people laugh. But Vice President Joe Biden shared the following counsel. He said, if anyone is attacking your home, just go outside and fire with a double-barreled shotgun and fire both barrels in the air. Which is very, very good advice. If it so happens you're being attacked by a flock of geese. We've seen the assault on the Fourth and Fifth Amendment as this administration has been invading our privacy with the NSA seizing phone records and emails and viewing law-abiding citizens as the target of their efforts. By the way, for anyone who has your cell phones here, please leave them on. I want to make sure President Obama hears everything we say. And we've seen the assault on the 10th Amendment as the federal government's power has extended beyond and beyond and beyond the limits. And no extension is more egregious than that power grab that is Obamacare. And then if you look at our fiscal and economic state, we are facing an enormous crisis. For the last 4 years, our economy has grown on average 0.9%. 0.9%. You know, there's only one other 4-year period since World War II of 4 consecutive years of less than 1% growth. That was 1979 to 1982. Coming out of the Jimmy Carter administration. It was the same failed economic policies, out of control spending, taxes, and regulation, and it produced the exact same economic state. People are hurting all across this country. We are at the edge of a fiscal and economic crisis. You know, I'm reminded of last fall when I had the opportunity to speak at the National Republican Convention in Tampa. And I talked about the national debt. I talked about our 2 little girls, Caroline and Catherine. And that night, Heidi and I went back to the hotel room. We're sitting in at about 1:30 in the morning. And I pulled out my iPhone and began looking at Twitter. And Paula Poundstone, the comedian, it so happened she watched the convention that night. I guess she didn't have anything better to do. And she sent a tweet. She said, Ted Cruz just said, when his daughter was born, the national debt was $10 trillion. Now it's $16 trillion. What the heck did she do? Heidi and I laughed so hard we almost fell out of bed. But you know what? Caroline's fine. In her short life, our national debt has grown over 60%. What we are doing right now is fundamentally immoral.